all that happened before he became this incredible musician. What it is, what it ain't, it's your girl Umbrella, and I am back with another video. Hey guys, we are at 900 subscribers. Oh my god, we're at 900 subscribers. I am so excited, y'all. Like, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I want to thank you guys even more for subscribing to my channel, and yeah, it's just amazing feeling to be supported and things that you just love to talk about. So, without further ado, I want to get into the video. Today's video is going to be about Robert Johnson and the myth of his life and his death. So we're going to get into it right now. Make sure that you like, comment down below, and subscribe to this channel for more videos just like this. Okay. I really wanted to do this video after I saw Sinners, but I did hear about this story briefly like earlier in the year, and I did want to talk about it, but now that I watched Sinners and I could see like where they were going with it, I really wanted to do this video so that I could learn a little bit more about Robert Johnson myself. He was born May the 8th, 1911, and he died August 16th, 1938. And he is said to be one of the most famous blues composers of all time. Okay. He grew up in Hazelhurst, Mississippi, and this is the early 1900s, so this was a very racial time in our history, in our American history, where black people were still enslaved, but subtle things like music was helping us climb out of our struggle, and black people had more opportunities to climb into success before we get to the black renaissance of the 1920s. Mr. Johnson grew up with both of his parents. His father was a carpenter in town, and some of the white folks in the town was very jealous of his skills, so his parents had to flee a mob of white people that were jealous of his skills and his money that he was making from his skills. So they basically had to split up, and the mom and Robert left the town. Saying goes that, as they leave, his mother ends up remarrying a sharecropper, and the sharecropper really wants Robert to get in the field and start learning how to, be a sharecropper, because that's where most black people made their money, was in the fields. So Robert, he really wanted to be a guitar player. He heard about music, he heard about the big city, he heard about like places like Chicago and things like that, and he wanted to become a musician. So he didn't want to work in the fields because it was going to mess up his hands. Okay. So he was like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. And this was during the time that, black people barely had any type of refuge from slavery and from like just working in the field all day. They never really had any type of, relaxation or happiness. So, that's when the blues came into play, and black people really created blues music from being in the fields all day and really just being tired and worn down, bored, you know what I'm saying? So they came up with blues music and started to spread like wildfire. So blues music was, composed from the deep south, and it spread everywhere. Blues was like an escape. So on the weekends they would go to, a nice little barn or whatever, and they would play their blues music, or they would go to church. It would be like Saturday they would do the blues, and then Sunday they would do church. Or it was a way for black people to make extra money as well, doing blues music, traveling to the city and back home so that they can bring money home to their families. From the documentary I saw on Netflix, a lot of the black people were saying that basically the church was jealous of some of the black people that were making money off of blues music, so they started to say that the blues music was devil worship, or the devil's music, because they were kind of jealous that they didn't have a full house in the church, and that the church was just full of women and no men was there. They weren't in the church, they were in the joints, as they would call them, making music and making money. So the wives would go back to their husbands and say, "Oh, you're gonna go to hell if you keep doing what you're doing." And I mean, if I could comment on that, I would say that maybe it's not the music that's devil worship. I think that it is the behavior that the music kind of ensues. It's the environment. Like a juke joint basically is just, it's liquor. It's, women. Um, if a lot of the men, that were sharecroppers, they were married. So, it's the environment really. It's not just the music. It's literally like the environment that they were in that made it worse. You know what I mean? It's like devilish behavior. The music to me is just a background for, or an excuse. Blaming it on the music is just an excuse for bad behavior. So a lot of the men were cheating on their wives. They were developing a drinking problem. They would go to the city and then they would come back and they would have heroin addiction. It's almost like a musician's lifestyle back in the day was just an excuse, or kind of like a gateway to having, health problems, whether it's from drugs or from, sleeping around, or just having a unhappy life. The saying is that he couldn't really play the guitar very well, and that's to people that knew him and that were older than him around that time. Like, he didn't really play the guitar very well, so he left for a year and came back, and he was way better than any musician that was out. And people assumed that he sold his soul to the devil. So I do want to go back and talk about a little bit about what led him to be a musician. And when he was around his like teenage years, he met a girl and they got married, and she got pregnant. So after she got pregnant, she moved with her grandmother, or told her basically that he wasn't going to do music anymore and that he was going to be a sharecropper and do the right thing. But then, because they were separated, he had like a few gigs that he had to do first. So he did the gigs that he had to do while they were separated so that he could make some money. So once he came back, she had passed away from childbirth, and her family had already buried her and the baby. So of course that he was heartbroken after that, and he decided to commit himself fully to music. He not only wanted to be good, he wanted to be great. He wanted to be a great musician. So he committed himself fully to it. So he was traveling. He also had a son, and his son at the age of like 6 or 7 when he went to go see him. And his son's grandfather was like, "No, he's not going to be around you because you're into the devil's music." So he couldn't even have a relationship with his own son. So that led him to drink and to be, around women and things like that. So all that happened before he became this incredible musician. So, like, we can fast forward now to him having these crazy skills. A lot of people say that he had a 7 string guitar. Most people had 6 string guitars, so it was something that nobody had ever seen before. A lot of the rumors were either that he went to the crossroads, which is literally like a part of the land in Mississippi where it's like it's points to north, south, east, and west. So you can go east, or you can go west, or you can go north, or you can go south. So that was the saying, that he went to that area and he gave his guitar to the devil, and the devil presented the guitar and, tweaked it, tuned it up, and was giving it back to him. But the devil told him basically that you have to give me your soul now. So if you want the guitar back, I need your soul. And he said, if you grab this guitar, your soul is mine. And he grabbed the guitar, and that's like one of the myths. The other myth is that he went to the graveyard and he learned how to play the guitar from the spirits in the graveyard, because, and I want to say that there was rumors of this because he was not good enough to play in front of, a measly crowd before. Like, he barely knew what he was doing. The words of other people that were very successful at that time, he wasn't a good, composer at all. Him coming back with these incredible skills and doing things with his guitar that nobody had ever seen before, it was almost like witchcraft. It was almost like the rumors were true that he did sell his soul to the devil. So, do I believe that? I would say I feel like in order for you to believe in that, you have to believe in magic. You have to believe that, like, some people say if you believe in God, then you have to believe that the devil is real too. So I do believe it. I do believe that it's possible that you could detour and take a year to a year is a long time to me, especially if you omit like 2025 from the discussion and like all the electronics that we have to distract us from how the world is. I feel like if I was living in a rural country place and there was nothing to do but sharecrop, go to church, and go to the juke joint, I feel like a year would be a long time. So if I'm dedicating myself to learning how to play the guitar for a whole year, I think that it is possible that you could get very good at it. But better than the people that have been doing it for 30 years, I don't think so. I don't believe that. So I do believe that there is some such thing as hoodoo. And hoodoo was a form of black African American magic. And it was used to fight back during slavery, a very violent time, a form of magic that black people used to gain skills, to learn different things. I don't all the way know, y'all. Like, I'm not from the South. I'm from DC. I'm not from the South, so I really do feel like I would have to talk to somebody that's like from down there. But I do feel like it's possible. It's possible that these forms of magic are real. But um I just don't, I guess I don't understand how it can be considered devilish or or demonic, like dark magic, if it's teaching us how to gain these skills. I feel like if it's skills that we've learned, I feel like that comes from God. I feel like that's not the devil. um I don't want to sit here and say that, Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil, because I don't think that that's necessarily true. I do think that it's possible. Anything is possible in my mind, but I don't think that that's necessarily true. I feel like his skills had advanced. I don't know. I don't know. It's really touchy, honestly, and I think it's because I'm from the north. Like, I barely know anybody that's from the South. But if I did, I probably would believe it, because hello. After he gained these skills, he was a great musician. He was playing everywhere. He was getting all this money. But because he couldn't see his son and things like that, and, still dealing with the grief of his wife and his baby, he developed a drinking problem and he was obsessed with women. So, that kind of took a toll on him as a person. So, of course, the rumors were floating around that he sold his soul to the devil. So, one night, he went to the juke joint as usual. He was having an affair with the owners of the juke joint's wife. He had disrespected her or called her out her name or something, and the owner overheard. So he put some type of poison in his bottle of liquor. Now, I'm telling you that he was like a drunk at this point, so he always drank. So I think sometimes he didn't want to play because he'd been doing it for such a long time. I think he didn't want to play like that. So people would liquor him up to get him to play or play more. So he took his usual bottle of whiskey. Someone did try to stop him from drinking it because the seal was already ripped open. But he's an alcoholic at this point. So he took the liquor, he drunk it, and he couldn't drink no more because he was in a lot of pain immediately. The poison was coursing through his veins, and it took him 2 days after he drank that to pass away. I mean, can you imagine being in that much pain that it takes 2 days for you to die? That is a very awful way to die. So he passed away at the age of 27 in 1938. Then 6 months later, a man wants him to perform at Carnegie Hall, but he's already dead. So they play his music like on like a record player, and crowd is going insane. The crowd is going crazy. Like people are like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this. It sounds so good." He was also talking in his music, and it's almost like people believe the rumors about him, selling his soul to the devil because he was speaking about it in his music as well. It wasn't just that he played very well, but it was that he actually was mentioning, meeting the devil and walking side by side with the devil and things like that. So it only made the rumors kind of seem like it was true. His music really opened the door, and his style of music and how he portrayed the blues, it really advanced the careers of so many people because it led to rock and roll. And we talking about a lot of white people, that were influenced by him. And if we talking about rock and roll and the blues and R&B, like this, the blues in general led to so many successful careers for black people, and unfortunately a lot of early deaths. They also talked about in this documentary how there's a 27 curse, and that's the curse of musicians passing away at the age of 27. Like, for example, Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain, and Amy Winehouse. Those are just three examples of artists that have passed away at the age of 27, very, very early in their careers, too. And you can almost see them like in their careers deteriorating, which is really sad. This Netflix documentary was really, really good. It's called Remastered: The Devil at the Crossroads. It's really, really good. I encourage you guys to watch it on Netflix. I do want to make a comparison to Robert Johnson and the movie Sinners. I do want to make like a comparison video to Sinners to see like what's, in the movie, out the movie, all that type of stuff. So be on the lookout for that video. Thank you guys for watching this video. It's your girl Umbrella, and I will be back in the next video. Bye.